16. If I multiply by a half, I get 8, and 8 minus 3 makes 5. If I plug in 0, this turns out to be 0, and I get minus 3, because 0 minus 3 is negative 3. If I plug in 2, 2 to the 4th is 16. 1/2 times 16 is 8, and 8 minus 3 is again 5. So I've got negative 2, 5, left 2 and up 5. I've got 0, negative 3, which is down 3, and I've got positive 2, 5, which is right 2 and up 5. There we go. So, radical function, right? The radicals should make some kind of wave by the time I'm done. I'm going to use not negative 2 this time, because sometimes you can get in trouble trying to use negatives with the square root. So I'm just going to use 1, 2, and 3. If I plug in 1, 1 plus 1 is 2. The square root of 2 is some kind of a decimal. So I don't really want to necessarily use that. I'm going to start with 3, because 3 plus 1 is 4. And the square root of 4 is something I know. It's 2, because 2 times 2 is 4. So I get, if you can imagine it, 3 plus 1 minus 2. I get the square root of 4 minus 2, or 2 minus 2, and that makes 0. I want to turn this into another square root that I know. Like the square root of 9 is 3. So what would I have to plug in for x? I'd have to plug in an 8. If I plug in an 8, 8 plus 1 is 9, the square root of 9 is 3, and 3 minus 2 is 1. I'm just going to stick with that for the moment. If one of the points is 0 or 3, 0, I'd go to the right 3 and stop here. If the next point is 8, 1, it'd be all the way out to where 8 is, and then there'd be a point up in here somewhere. So I think the wave just starts right here. Something like that. Finally, the rational function. It'll produce double curves when we're done. 1 over x minus 3. Okay, x and y. Let me try negative 1, 0, and 1 this time. If I plug in negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4, so I get 1 over negative 4, or negative 1/4. If I plug in 0, 0 minus 3 is negative 3. I get 1 over negative 3, which is negative 1/3. If I plug in 1, 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 1 over negative 2 is negative 1/2. And I don't like the fact that I've only got negatives over here, so I want to try to produce something positive. I need this to be bigger than 3, so it turns out to be a positive number. So let me just use 4. All right? If I plug 4 in, 4 minus 3 is 1, and I get 1 divided by 1, which is 1. I'm also going to use 5. If I put 5 in here, 5 minus 3 is 2, so I get 1 over 2, or 1/2. So let me try to sketch some of these. Negative 1 and negative 1/4 is left 1 and down a 4th. 0 and negative 1/3 is down a 1/3. 1, negative 1/2 is to the right 1 and down a 1/2. 4, 1 is over here. And 5, 1/2 is here. So I believe that's where my curves are. And we're going to talk more specifically in the future about how you can be a lot more specific about exactly where these things are when you talk about asymptotes and etc. But for now, I just wanted you to get used with using a table, putting in some points, and getting a good look at it. Alright, hope that helps. See you next class.